Now, wherever you are, welcome to this second session of drafting of the main building. This is a follow-up session. It will be a short one because I just want to highlight 2 or 3 things with regards to projection. We started with our ground floor, and that one becomes like the datum drawing for all these other subsequent drawings, okay? Unlike the ground floor, we will not go and start measuring our drawing, but rather we'll project so that we have a lot of consistency, okay? The same case will apply to the other types of orthographic drawings, the sections and the elevations. So without further ado, allow me to proceed on. We did stop here, okay? Now I want to do my first floor, and if I look at my ground floor drawing, and by extension my first floor drawing, ideally there are things that should be consistent. The positions of the columns must remain the same. Most probably the position of the staircase will remain the same. Then you'll get 2 or 3 other features that are still as consistent as what we had on the ground floor, okay? So what does that mean? It means that even the grid will remain consistent. The dimensions of the grid will also remain consistent, etc, okay? So we don't need to start drawing again things that will be consistent, but rather we just need to either overlay or copy paste them, because they will be of this most probably the same position, the same size, the same character, okay? So maybe before doing that much, allow me to add that railing of our balcony that we did not place last time because it will be important. That railing, if you look at it, starting here. Now, unlike this wall that we are cutting, or our eye level is cutting through, our railing is shorter than our eye level. That means that we are not cutting through it, but rather we are seeing it. So as a result, the graphical presentation will be different. We are not cutting through it, so the boundary will not bleed in quotes. We are not going to see the building material. So at this level, you can comfortably use air or anything close to that. Okay. And if we say okay, we are fine. So that's a good representation of our wall. That wall has a railing, okay? The railing, again, just like the wall, we are not going to cut through it. We're just going to see it. In our case, I'm using a railing of 50, whether it's a rectangular hollow section or a circular hollow section, we're around 50. Okay. Then I know that goes up to there. So with that, I have the extent of this other side. Can copy the tool to show the extent of this lower side. Remember, you had already placed a grid, so we are good to go that extent. I'll copy that to show this. So as you can see, we are starting from the principle of the knowledge on construction technology. And I always insist, if you don't have that construction technology, it's normally difficult to handle these things. You must have an understanding of how items are placed, for you to be able to do what's expected of you. So I've noticed that that balcony stretches that point. So I'll stretch it. So I'll emphasize again, your level of construction technology knowledge must be good, and will only be good by 80% just visiting construction sites and seeing what's happening. I've noticed that some of us always make a lot of assumptions, yet all what you need to do is to visit a construction site and observe what is happening, okay? So so for those lines that are meeting, for example, that small plinth or skirting, those ones, I'll join them to 1. See, they should move from 3 to 1. Okay. Same case applies to this. Again, I will insist your knowledge on construction technology must be very good. If you're struggling on that side, then you'll really struggle to do your work properly. Okay. So we have placed our balcony, and you'll agree with me, it changes the whole of that part in a better way. Now, we now want to do the first floor. As I said, there are things that will not change. Things like those columns, the grid, etc. So I want to use the find and select tool to pick up those items that I'm sure will not change. For example, that if I look at its building material, there it is, and it has picked together with the fins. They separate the fins in terms of layers, that is column. I did not, they should be in windows. So again, please avoid those mix-up in your work. For now, allow me just to quickly move them to the window layer. From column to window and door. So this level, let me even change that layer. Now, one thing you'll notice before I proceed on so much is that the moment I imported my layout book, it brought a lot of unnecessary layers. That's expected, okay? Especially where your layering systems are not compatible, are not the same. So it will bring forth all those layers, okay? Now, you can decide to ignore them, but at times when there's so much, it becomes a problem. So at this early stage, you can decide to show everything. Select all, then show. After showing everything, you can decide to select everything. Okay, that ensures that you have selected all the layers that you have currently used, and then you can hide all the other layers that you're not using. Once you do that and go to the layers, you'll find the layers that you're not using. And I can comfortably do away with them, though I know as long as I want to delete them instead of having them, I'll delete them there. Okay. So if you look at my layer, the layer tool, it's now just limited to what I'm doing. I can go back to this, whatever that I was, the view set. Now, I need to create my first flow. And for me, I always insist on each drawing being its own worksheet, just for the sake of clarity. And if you want to go get your drawing, it becomes very easy. So some of us will even just drag a copy and proceed on. For the sake of easy overlaying, I would rather use a different worksheet. So I'll come here and create a new worksheet and call it first flow. This first flow, as I've said, I'll pick up a number of things that are done on the ground floor. Let me start with my columns. Now, as you can see, this one is picking up together with the fins. I'll want to this layer. I'm seeing a small mix up here that I need to correct. The lines representing my frames in my windows. Again, I failed to place them in the right place. So what does that mean? It means that they'll always be misplaced. I need to correct them this early, which I've corrected. So let's go back now, at least it looks presentable. So I was saying that even these ones are being selected, so I can create another criteria and I can work with the layer. Now, if I select the layer, it will be limited to the layer of columns. So if I click that, I can select. Now, this find and select tool, you can use it in both ways, okay? You can select what you want, okay? Or you can select everything and deselect what you want if you wanted to copy the other thing. So learn to use both, use them in both ways, okay? So for now, we just want the columns. So we have picked the columns, we copy them. And on our first floor drawing, I'll paste them, okay? Now, at this level, I'll want you to learn how to use the trace and reference tool. The trace and reference tool is a very versatile tool. It helps you just overlay, and that one is very important. The overlaying helps in confirming that everything is synchronous between the floor plans, and you can even use it as a tool to project. So let's use it to overlay our ground. So we say show and trace. We say show and trace, as you can see, our ground in a faint way is shown. So as a result, we can synchronize the items that are here. Sorry about the background noise. Can synchronize the items that are here. And as I said, there are things that we don't need to redo, okay? Things like the grid. I'll just pick the grid. Those ones you just need to paste them here, okay? Things like the grid dimensions. For the grid dimensions, I think by now you'll notice that you cannot just copy a dimension directly. So normally you staticize them, you make them static by creating a copy. And then if you know that they will not change, so you make them static. And then now cut, remember we had cloned and created a copy, then you paste. Okay, even if they change, you can quickly adjust them at this level. Okay, so we have placed that. I'll curiously also want to copy the drawing. So that the drawing can also guide me. If you look at our first law, there are some walls that are as consistent as the ground floor. Okay, the new walls, for example, this part here is empty, the ground floor. It's a garden. Okay, so that will help me move quickly. There are some walls, for example, this wall, that wall. So what stops me from even picking up all the walls and then eliminating what I don't need? You have that freedom, because right now you are just handling the first floor, and being the first floor, there's a lot of consistency or similarity in the ground floor. So let me just place them. Once I've placed them, I'll want to, at this level, I can deliberately even mask off the ground floor information. So I can opt to read it side by side, so that because I know it's not so perfect. Okay, so I can see that wall remains. This wall remains. The only thing is that it's extended outside by around 800. So I can take this one, push it outside by 800. So as I say, and I'll repeat, you are basing these things on knowledge. You are not waking up and suddenly deciding to do 2 or 3 things, but rather they're there. There's a detail there that maybe was not well captured on the ground floor. Nevertheless, let's for now just handle it that way. So again, where 2 walls meet, need to consolidate them. Okay. Yeah, you'll notice that there's a small change in terms of the shape of the column. Structurally, they usually allow to some extent. And I think the student did this because, as you can see, that column now becomes an obstacle. So can reduce it that much. Maybe increase it a bit. I think that's what the student was trying to do. Those are structural design issues. Maybe in a forum of structural design can be explained why and how. Okay, but generally that's what the student was trying to do, and by extension, he was able to push the wash and basin to the back. Now, for me, the wash and basin, I will just use the same granite worktop that I used in my kitchen. It's like a vanity top. It's my 600. Place it there. I'm even tempted to place it a little bit. Okay, so I already have my wash and basin. The bathtub, now the same process. Go look for bathtub Bathtub top view. I'll look for something that looks good for me. Something like this. Okay. And just, again, just like what you've been doing, just place. What is the size of a bathtub? You must know. You are failing to know these things will always not give you what you are looking for. So just ensure that the bathtub size is known by you. It is so allow me to come and place the bathtub here. So I will not repeat those activities again because there's a question of following up the previous tutorial. Let's see what we are getting here. Is it consistent? In terms of scale and proportion, not so bad. So with that bathtub, I can come and place it. It's supposed to be there. Must know how to position the taps normally along the wall. So there we have placed it. So you'll place the others, the bathtub, shower, WC, you'll handle those things. You'll handle the doors, etc. So the essence of this presentation just to show you that you don't need to start from scratch, but rather, if you had done your ground floor properly, you should not struggle with your first floor. Okay. Now, I suspect even the windows and doors are just consistent. So again, there's nothing that stops us picking up those lines. Okay. I'll take them as a group so that in case I want to delete anything, I can delete. And there's nothing that stops us from now taking this fence now that you have confirmed. You have confirmed they're consistent to what you're looking for. So we'll pick them. Wondering why those ones are not picked. So I'll pick again all the lines. Then I'll pick that fill. So if I say copy, got my first row, I can paste them. What you might notice is that these ones, since they are slanting, they have moved outwards. So you can adjust that. There are many ways of doing that. You can resize. You can manually draw the circle and move them. Okay. So let's go back to, we have a bed. So this one being a bed and it being accessed from this other side. So I'll need to move the door from there, this other side. Yeah, we don't have a door. And so on and so forth. So basically, we are just continuing to draft, but you'll notice we are not starting from scratch. but rather we are picking up from what we had initially done. Okay, we have a wall here, so when the one smaller that I deleted, I can move it. Maybe by around 1200. Okay, we'll have a small cake there. This one is a bedroom, so look at it, that's a bedroom. So all these other things, these other lines, those ones, so you move all of them. Okay, bedroom that goes to the balcony, so, okay. Our master bedroom is a walk-in, and you can see where the door is. The door is just before, so I can comfortably move it. With that, I can comfortably place. And so on and so forth. So the essence of this tutorial is just to show you that you don't need to start from scratch, but rather, if you had properly done the ground floor, there's a lot that you need to pick up from it to hasten your process of drafting. Okay, so allow me to stop there for the first floor, and you'll do that for the subsequent floors. Okay, maybe I can stop by just bringing the balcony. Okay, so I believe you should be able to finish up the remaining items. Since we don't have a wall here, I'm always tempted to clean up, but due to time, I'll not be able to do everything. But generally, at least we have now something that's heading towards our first floor. Okay. Once you always finish, ensure that you save it as one of the view sets, or one of the in the view map as one of the view sets. Now, I'll want to do the projections involving sections. Let's look at our drawing first and see what informs what you are doing. Now, before you handle the elevations, it's always good to handle the section, because the section will give you all the relevant heights and levels that you're looking for. In this case, this one is an ideal section that a student did. And if you look at the floor to floor, it's 3 meters, very clean, very clear, very straightforward. You will notice that he used a hollow pot suspended floor, again, very clean, very clear, very straightforward. So we just need to quickly project what he's doing. And for us to project, we'll come and create, let's call it section X, X. And that section, we will import. This is page number 7. So we'll import the many ways of importing. We can opt to bring what we initially had. Press it there. then change the page number. So you link to, so you go look for the same drawing. So for documentation, I'll go to page 7. So that will be replaced by that page 7, and you can clearly see that you can now understand our section. Now, for the section, it's always good to have an understanding of the various parts of the section. And for me, I'm always interested in confirming that you know the various parts of a building, okay, in section. And again, you know the associated depths, okay. Our ground floor, so I'm going to use a drafting line, okay, to quickly pick up this. Our ground floor slab, I think in this case is suspended. It's a hybrid of a suspended and a ground. So allow me to work with around 200, and then I'll place it maybe 100 above the ground. I believe you know how you place it 100 above the ground. Then our first floor is 3 meters. But since he has used hollow pot, most probably we'll have a depth of around 300. Okay, as opposed to 150. And then our beams will be 600. And I know the same case applies to suppose here something like a flat roof. That one also applies to our second floor. Okay, so at this level, if I was to label, I'll easily label that's the floor level, that's the lower part of the hollow pot, that's the lower part of the beam. Okay, so I have a rough idea of my levels. Now I want to overlay my ground floor. And if you look at this section, this is a section that is cutting. If I can draw the section line for now, that section line, I can comfortably place it here. It's already there. So that's our section line. Allow me to just quickly represent it the way he has represented it. Use a drafting tool and make it solid so that it communicates. So that being my section line, okay? So I want to overlay and look at this point facing the left side, okay? So I'll come and select my section, then I'll come and overlay the ground floor, okay? At this level, this might not be so necessary, so I can hide it if I want to, so that it even hides on both layers. There, okay? So I'll want now to rotate it. That tells me my lines, I've drawn certain lines and I say not to see them. So again, I place them in the wrong layer. So ensure that you always use the right layers. So maybe I can talk about story levels for now. At some point, you'll realize that all these layers are not necessary, but as I always say, you work from first principle. So place them stories. So I'm now able to say it. Now I want my section line along. Now you'll notice that my drafting line is missing simply because of the settings here. So it's always good to, I think it's missing simply because a drafting line. Let's go and quickly change it to a normal line because no, I think it's even more than that. Our layer need to place it in a layer that can be seen. So I'll go back. I can see there is my section line. So I want to rotate it. So I'll rotate my section, my plan. You rotate it using this rotate reference. Okay. And then I'll place it. You'll notice there's a way that you can temporarily displace if you want to. Okay. You can split. You can use the splitter basically to separate. If I just want to see a certain portion. Okay, it's temporary. Okay, so I want you to explore these tools. Okay, these tools within the trace and reference. But for now, I just want to trace what I can see here, and then I'll deal with what is beyond my cutting line. Okay, so I'll want to move this that point. Remember that was our origin, so I can match the origin at this point. Okay, so from this I can quickly pick up very critical lines, and those lines are the lines where we have our walls. So using the same drafting line, can easily pick up my walls on the ground floor. You notice that this is the same basic drafting techniques that we always insist on. You must learn how to project. Or let's say if you don't know how to project your drawing, too bad. Times it becomes a waste of time because you'll not be able to do your work properly. We have our balcony. So at this level, if I suspend the trace and reference, there are some things we can quickly place, okay? Without doubt, I can easily place my floor. How do I place it? I know very well that that is the extent of a beam. Okay. I also know that since we have a wall and a wall, the beam, let's go back to a section line, we have a wall, so we'll have a beam, we have a beam running there, and we have a wall, so we'll have a beam. So I can comfortably place them. At this level, I know that we are using hollow pot. So for hollow pot, we have a topping of 50. Okay, and then probably a hollow pot. We might not have a hollow pot right now, but let's look for something close to 8. I will not want to spend a lot of time doing it. I'm not run away from that. So for a hollow pot, Basically, they're hollow pots. Let's say around 300. They're now around 250. Let's say 250 by 400. And they're hollow. So again, you see, it all boils down to you having a proper understanding of your construction materials. Again, if you don't know these things, you'll always struggle. So we have that, and then some of us who have used hollow pots know how they're normally placed. The last one can be split. So as you can see, for me, I have placed the hollow pots. I still feel the pen weight is a bit thick. So I'll go reduce it further. Maybe 2. Okay. And I'll replicate the same on this other side. Let's make sure that your whatever is correct. Again, your display level. And so on and so forth. Okay. So at least for me, I've already, maybe let me put the last one. Of that part. In terms of layering, these layers, this one, in terms of display order, must be at the top. So I'll bring it to the top. And at this level, I can comfortably merge it, consolidate it with this one, because both of them are the same material. So from 5 to 1, okay? So you see with that, basically due to my knowledge on construction technology, I've been able to quickly do that. And I think the student also used the same thing on the flat roof. Whether it's successful or not, that's a debate for another time. But nevertheless, there it is, okay? So we have already placed our suspended floors. Our ground floor will be the typical ground floor, though there's something that you'll notice. Let's look at its drawings again. At this level, if you look at its section, at that level, we have a step, okay? So allow me to place a step. For the step is straightforward. I just deal with this one, 100, and then deal with the other one plus, but I'll drop it down by 200, by 100. What does that mean? It means that this one will extend to that point there. And at that point, I will unify them. Okay. So you see, due to my knowledge on construction technology, I've been able to quickly pick up the section. Okay. We have the walls that we are cutting through and the doors and the balcony. This point here, maybe we might have, it would have been prudent to also step down the balcony, but I can leave it that way for the time being. But most importantly, we have doors and balconies, okay? The doors, just the same language. You need to know the type of door you're dealing with. So in our case, assuming the same type of door, we will get the frame. And now that you know, with a door of 3,000, normally we'll have a fan light at around 2,100 or 2,400. So we push it by 500, okay? And then we'll see a leaf. So that is the frame. So for the frame, definitely we are going to see all through. So I just want to pick up the settings that we had here so that our work is not so much inconsistent. So with that, can is that. Do I want to show the leaf? If you want to show the leaf, you can as well proceed on showing it. Okay, and so on and so forth. So at this level, we have our door. Okay, allow me not to, because of time, not to go into so much detail. But at least you can see where I'm coming from. Okay, I want to place my railing for the balcony. Again, I know that maybe I will have an upstand beam here, small upstand to hold it. So can put on 100. Then using the mastery of the same scale, I can place now not timber, but something to do with steel. I can place a railing, let's say a railing of 50 by 50. Will definitely be hollow, but at this level, we might not be able to see that detail. So place it there. And it shall be 900 from the floor. So again, my friends, it's just a question of your knowledge on construction. If your knowledge is poor, I always say garbage in, garbage out. But if your knowledge on construction is top notch, then you should not struggle when you're doing this draft work. Now, that one is for what I'm cutting, okay? There are things that I will see through, especially because of sectional elevation. Let's review the plan again at that level. At this level, we'll see a beam. We have a projection beam there. Well, I'm sorry. So I can comfortably project that. Okay. This terrace, you can see it through to the very end. So allow me to use those two elements to show my so now I can draw the extent of the column. Maybe at this level, I can place it together with the beam. We'll see that beam there. Okay. We will see the railing of our staircase. Okay. We'll have those intricate designs of the balusters and the balustrades. We'll see the edge of our wall beyond the door. Same case with that. So you can see now I'm moving beyond my drafted lines, the light ones, but rather I'm drawing what is necessary. But at the end of the day, if I hide this, I'll remain with my perfect drawing. So please follow this technique to quickly project your sections and elevations. And just like the others, once you are finished, come and save in your worksheet. And you'll come and place it. So you'll see now to be more than the ground floor plan. Most probably the first floor plan will not fit here. Just look at the half here it's occupying, so I might need a new sheet for the first floor. So, but besides the ground floor, if you know the rules of photographic projections, the sections should always be on the upper part. So I can comfortably come and place my section. It's not complete, but at least you have an idea of how to handle the two. So I will ask you to use this tutorial to finish up your projected drawings, the sections and the elevations. And most importantly, you must see a lot of consistency between the two. Failure to do that, you'll find yourself struggling so much when it comes to our modeling. Okay? So I'll call it floor plan and the element sections. There are standard ways of labeling sheets, but for now, I just want us to do it in the most rudimentary way. Along the way, we'll now learn based on systems and it will be easier. Okay. This one is our first floor. Can even delete it and pick up what we have here so that in terms of position is the same position. Okay. And now I'm going to replace it. So I'll change the link from my ground to my first. And as you can see, it has changed. Okay. So at this level, I can publish. My work is complete. Yours, ensure that it's complete. Mine is incomplete. But most importantly, I can publish. But before I publish, I'll have to use the organizer to see if there are any things that have changed. So let's open the organizer. If I look at my drawing here, this one, I will still call it floor plan and section and elevations. It's not there, so I can come and place it there. But one of the quickest ways, usually once you have finished, you can delete what you had here and place a new set of folders so that you don't lose anything. But for us, because we just know that's only addition, you can place it and then confirm this one is a BIMX. So let's first of all publish using a BIMX. It has already finished. And then I'll go, because I don't want to lose, or I want my work to be consistent, I'll change it to that point and publish it to a PDF. Okay. Maybe again, at this point, I'll want you to explore what options do you have besides that. When you talk about real folder, what does it mean? When you talk about a flat structure, what do you mean? So kindly explore all those. When you say print, what does it mean? When you say save, What does it mean? And what are the other options that we have? Okay, besides printing and saving and plotting. Okay, I want you to explore the various options or the possibilities that the publisher gives you. But at this point, I want us to quickly look at what we have just published. Let's go to where we've published, but I've made a small mistake. The mistake is that I did not change the name of my file. So what has happened, it has overwritten. Okay, so we must always, the bit that I might be having a backup, since remember I sent it for submission, what have you, but it's always good to remember that. So look at that, we have the first sheet. Again, everything not well organized, but at least for me, the key thing is just showing you the kind of deliverables that will emanate from what you are doing. Okay, and that's the second floor, first floor, sorry. We'll have a BMX. The BMX, again, now it will have both the first sheet and the second sheet. Okay, so please, let's now try and finish up our drawings so that our next tutorial being for modeling, we'll have a thorough understanding of what we are modeling. Allow me to stop there. Thank you, and good day ahead.